I'm 26 years old now, and this happened about 10 years ago, but it still feels like yesterday to me. Let me give a little context first. When I was 13 years old, my height was 5 feet, 10 inches, and people often thought I was 16. At that time, I lived with my uncle Jared, his wife, 2 daughters, and my grandma. Jared ran a pool and spa business where he did repair and cleaning work and handled chemicals and supplies. They were very good at their work and people connected with them quickly. We lived in a nice area in Southern California where the weather was always sunny and it never got hotter than 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Jared had quite a few wealthy clients, one of whom was a middle-aged lady. One day, she invited Jared to her home for a Halloween party and said that his entire family could come too. Jared was crazy about Halloween, especially scaring people, and I liked it too. So, he invited me to the party as well. I didn't particularly like parties, but working in the haunted maze seemed very exciting, so I immediately agreed. The party was quite amazing, and the food was also good, but I mostly stayed around my family. About an hour before the maze was set to start, Jared and I went to get ready. Jared went to get ready in a vacant part of the house, and I went to the guest house. My job was to distract people in the maze. I wore a Victorian-style short dress covered in fake blood, giving the impression that I was hanging from a tree. The plan was to send one group at a time into the maze. I stayed in one spot stationary, distracting people while Jared, dressed as Michael Myers, scared them with a chainsaw. Their spot was across my path, hidden in the shadows. The maze work was going well, but after 30 minutes, everything changed. I was standing in the maze when I heard some voices. It was a group of about 5 men who were talking loudly, and from their voices, it seemed like they were quite drunk. I ignored it because alcohol was being served at the party. But at that moment, I started feeling a strange unease which I chose to ignore. I thought Jared would be nearby, so I didn't worry. Just then, one of them said, "Oh wow, she's looking cute." There were also some catcalls. That's when I realized they were talking about me. Because of the spotlight, I couldn't see much, and they were visible only up to 15 feet away. As they came closer, my anxiety increased. I was completely frozen there. They almost surrounded me, and one of them said, "Hey baby, come with us. It'll be fun." I shouted loudly, "Stay away from me." But they ignored me and surrounded me. One guy reached for my chest, but I forcefully pushed his hand away and said again, "Stay away from me." I wanted to run to find Jared, but they stopped me and said, "Aren't we good enough for you?" At that moment, I thought of screaming loudly, but I felt that people would ignore it, thinking it was part of the maze. Then the sound of a chainsaw was heard, and Jared appeared in the shadows as Michael Myers. He said, "What are you doing with my niece?" Seeing Jared, those people got scared. One man said, "Cool, brother, we're leaving." But before leaving, he stared at me and said, "See you later, babe," he said as he lightly touched my stomach and walked away. Jared yelled curses at them and chased after them, but I ran to him and broke down crying. Jared immediately called my grandma, and then we went to the hostess, but nothing could be done because there wasn't a proper description of those men. I work there now, but I'm never in direct view. I've learned one thing. Scaring like the Grudge by crawling is very effective. I have 3 pieces of advice for those working in haunted attractions. Being part of the party doesn't mean you won't get into trouble. Always stay near another worker. Always be aware of your surroundings, because those who are scaring might themselves be victims of a traumatic experience.